Today we're doing lesson 5.3 for algebra on solving multi-step inequalities. So just like when you're solving equations, we're going to try to isolate or get the variable by itself. With inequalities though, you want to keep in mind if you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number at any point during the solving process that you flip the symbol. So if it's a greater than symbol to begin with, you flip it to a less than symbol whenever that happens. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to solve each of these inequalities. So we're going to take, for the first one, and try to get W by itself. So we look at, on the side with the W, the 10. We need to cancel out the 10 by subtracting. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So I subtracted by 10. I keep the symbol the same, and then I'm bringing down a negative 2W. Then to get W by itself, the opposite operation here would be to divide by negative 2. Since I divided by negative 2, I'm going to flip the symbol. So now I have W here, and 13 divided by negative 2, which is negative 6.5, or negative 13 over 2 is fine. And this would be your answer. And remember, you read from the variable, so this would read as W is greater than or equal to negative 6.5. The next one, we're going to get Y by itself, so we need to subtract by 11 first. That gives us 32. And we did not do anything with the symbol yet. We keep it as the same, and now we have negative 4 times W, so to get, times Y. So to get Y by itself, we're going to divide by negative 4. And again, we divided by a negative, so that flipped our symbol. Whoops. Just to that symbol. So we have Y is greater than now negative 8. The next one, it asks us to define a variable, write an inequality, and solve. Really, the define a variable part is just making a variable for the problem, but it's part of the writing inequality part, so you really can ignore that step. So we're writing this inequality out as an inequality, and we're going to solve it. So if I just go from where we start, we have 2 more than half a number. So 2 more than means plus in this case, because if you read, usually the inequality symbols are going to be in the middle of the sentence, right here. So the more than isn't an inequality symbol, it's a addition symbol. So we're going to do 2 plus half of a number. We can take it and write it as half times a number, which we don't know the number, so we could put it as n or x. Then we have the symbol is greater than, and then we have the rest of the problem, 27. So we're solving here for n. We need to subtract by 2. That gives us 1/2 n is greater than 25. And then to cancel out a fraction next to the variable, we multiply by the reciprocal, 2 over 1 or 2. And we didn't multiply by a negative, so it stays as the same symbol. And we get n is greater than 50. Next part, we're going to graph the inequality on a number line and solve. So we need to get z by itself first. Whenever I see here, we're going to solve for z, so we're going to distribute first. We get 30z minus 18 less than or equal to 36z. We need to combine like terms, so we're going to move the 30z over to to be with the 36z, because if we move the 36z over, we would have nothing on that side, and we never want nothing on one side. Then we have negative 18 left over. It's less than or equal to 36 minus 30, which is 6z, and we're dividing by 6. So we don't flip the symbol because we didn't divide by a negative. Stays as the same. We get negative 3. So we would read this as z is greater than or equal to negative 3, and that would be on the number line a closed circle, because it includes the negative 3 with the equal to sign, and if it's greater than, it would be pointing to numbers greater than negative 3. Next one, we're also going to solve and graph on a number line. So we need to distribute here twice. We get 2h plus 12 is greater than negative 24 plus 3h, because you have a negative times a negative. We need to combine our variables first. I'm going to bring the 2 over with the 3 to avoid a negative, so I have 12. It's greater than negative 24, and this is just going to be plus 1h, or plus h. And then I need to combine our numbers together. Add 24, we get 36. We don't flip the symbol because we didn't multiply by a negative or divide by a negative. So if I'm going to graph this, I have an open circle at 36 because it's just going to be less than the numbers, and reading from the variable h is less than 36, so we're going to go to the left. Here we're just asked to solve the inequality. Again, I see distributing. So this is an 18, stays the same. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24c. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Also here, negative 6 times 4 is negative 24c. And negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. And then we're going to combine like terms on the same side, so we could do 18 minus 12. Just read from left to right, we get 6 minus 24c is greater than negative 24c plus 6. And if you pay attention here, you have a negative 24c and a negative 24c. You have a positive 6 and a positive 6. So, if it's the exact same phrase on each side, we're going to say this is all real numbers. And we don't need to graph that. And one more, we're going to solve for m. So we have to distribute. We get 46 greater or less than or equal to 8m. Negative 4 times 2 is also 8m, negative 8m. And then you have negative 4 times 5, which is negative 20. So in this case, we have 8m minus 8m, which gives us 0. So you're left with this. And if you read this, it says 46 is less than or equal to negative 20, which is not true. So we're going to say no solution. And that concludes Lesson 5.3 on solving multi-step inequalities.